Welcome back to the YouTube, and in this episode we're going to be doing a recce of the last section of the Lakeland 50, and we're also going to be doing a gear checklist going through everything I'll be taking to hopefully survive the Lakeland 50 trail race. Now this is my first ultra, so go easy on me, and I am so excited for this race. We are a few days out, let's get into it. Okay guys, I've arrived in Conniston. I'm going to be doing a good section of the Lakeland 50 today. So I'm doing about a third of it. It's 25 kilometers from Ambleside through to Conniston. This will be my final big meaty training run before we hit Saturday, which is crazy. It's less than a week away now till the Lakeland 50, so this will be the last effort I put in. It's quite warm today, so I've got about 1.5 litres of water, but it's not too far. We're covering about 1,000 meters of gain. Perfect timing because this is my bus. Let's do it. Ambleside. That was good timing. So the plan is arrived in Conniston, get the bus to Ambleside and essentially run back. It seems to make the most sense. So it's just me doing it today. I don't have 2 cars, so it seems like the best option. And this is a stagecoach, bus number 505, if you're thinking of doing something similar. Now the reason why I want to do this section over other sections is because this is where it's going to be dark and this is where I'm going to be the most tired. So it makes the most sense to be the most familiar with this section, say, as compared to the start. At the start there's going to be a ton of guys starting, super easy to follow, super easy to navigate, where this is where I'm going to be tired, fatigued. So to experience this last 25 of the Lakeland 50 in the daytime is going to be a brilliant way to familiarise myself with the last section, which is going to be the most hardest, definitely. Anyway, I'll see you in Ambleside. Let's go. Okay guys, we are off. So my impressions of this section are, it's quite nice, like there's a decent path, it's quite well trodden. I don't really know what to expect with the Lakeland 50 terrain, as this is not only my first ultra, but it's actually my first official trail run, which is pretty crazy. Now don't get me wrong, my objective for this race is to not DNF. 50 miles is a crazy distance and I'm definitely not going to be breaking any records. And I think with the training that I've done, I've probably done enough. I mean, I would have liked to have done more, but I think everyone says that for every race ever, don't they? And I have spent the last month living out of a camper van in Canada and in the Alps doing some mountaineering stuff, so you can't have it all, but this is really beautiful, man. This path, hopefully it continues, because it's a lot better than clambering up and down fells, or a lot easier anyway. So let's talk about the unfortunate side of ultra running. More specifically, the unfortunate side and worst case scenario of an event like the Lakeland 50. Well, there is a few things that will make you DNF, and that's things like big serious foot issues, things like horrible blisters, like early onset trench foot. Like, there are stuff you've got to take seriously and plan and prepare for, and that's why the kit list is pretty good. And I'll be going through my full kit list at the end of this video, or towards the end of this video. So basically it'll be things like Compeed blister plasters, a spare pair of socks, waterproof socks potentially, I'm not sure. I am going to be running in these Hoka Speed Goats that aren't actually Gore-Tex shoes, so I am expecting to get wet feet. And the benefits of running in non-Gore-Tex shoes is obviously you get that breathability, which is a big deal really. Like for me, I want my shoes to breathe. I did the Cumbrian Way in some Gore-Tex Solomons and my feet were in bits by like day 2, man. They just don't let your feet breathe. Now if you're expecting obviously extreme rain and you're only doing like a day hike, then it's kind of fair enough. Like you will get benefit out of Gore-Tex shoes, but in my opinion, I just think when it comes to trail running, you really want that breathability over Gore-Tex. Now Gore-Tex is obviously sold as breathable shoes, but they're nowhere near as breathable as just fabric, so that's what I'll be opting for, and that's what a lot of the guys that I know are doing it are. Wow, take a look how beautiful this route is, man. It's well nice. So yeah, that's the first thing, is foot issues. The next thing, which is an issue with any race really, is cramping. The best way to avoid cramping is to eat, get enough sodium in. So that's something I'll be taking like electrolytes in my water bottles for, and also chewable salt tablets, because when I did Edinburgh Marathon I had massive issues with cramping the last 10k, which isn't unusual. And then obviously bonking, which kind of ties into that. And the best thing to do with that is just to carb up correctly, fuel correctly and pace correctly. So I'll probably rely heavily on the aid stations, carrying only about 1.5 litres of water, which makes my pack lighter, which is another good thing about the Lakeland 50, is the aid stations, I believe, are well stocked and appropriate. And then you got your obvious, obviously, injuries, slips, trips and falls, which are very possible, especially on tired legs. And the best thing to do with that is just pace. But the weather reports come through and it doesn't look too bad. It looks about 15 degrees, quite wet, which I don't actually mind because it keeps you nice and cool. Today is about 23 degrees and you feel the difference. Let me check the map because I don't know where I'm going here. Ooh, it is a beautiful route. It's so nice. About 4 kilometers in now. I had to cut off like a little bit of the start, like the first 4k, because the bus basically had to go back to Hawkshead, which was a bit of a nightmare, but and maybe have a swim in Conniston water to finish up, which is a pretty nice idea. It's definitely warm enough. Okay, so I made it to a bit more adventurous terrain. Whew. I'll probably be doing this at night, so it might get quite sketchy, especially with 1,000 people overtaking me. Joking, I'm not that negative. But yeah, I bet in winter this is empty, but it's so bushy right now. Really cool views though. It's beautiful. Whew. Gaining quite a bit of elevation now. Got some of the Langdales behind me. This is one of the highest points on the Lakeland 50. This hill is going to be tough when I'm 60 kilometers deep. I mean, it's tough right now. Definitely won't be running up anything like this, but this is why it's good to recce the route, because you can kind of pace accordingly, and then that way there's no surprises. Woo! Okay, so here seems like a good a spot as any to set up my aid station, aka what is inside of my Montane trail running vest. Now it's pretty spacious in here, and I'm actually carrying most of the stuff I'm going to be taking on race day. So my waterproof pants, waterproof jacket, first aid kit, a cup for soup and drink, which I've got to bring, whistle, compass and some other stuff. But like I say, I'll check in with a full loadout of everything I'll be taking on a day. I have got a squares bar and a Lucozade Sport in here that I'm going to have now at the 10.5 kilometre point, which feels appropriate. 10.5 kilometres, an hour and a half, average pace about 8.50 per kilometre, which is pretty sound. I think the objective is don't get injured and don't DNF. But yeah, this is actually a really nice path, man. Now I think it probably will be dark, maybe by the time I'm crossing this area. It probably will be, so I won't be able to see all this, but at least I'll know where the path is. It's beautiful. Let's get some food. Okay, so we're 16 kilometres in now, making some decent pace. Not sure about this section here though, it's like bloody ladders, it's so steep. But at least I know it's here. Like I say, we're only 5-6 kilometres away from Conniston now, so hopefully if I make it to this point on Saturday, I'll be celebrating and this will be kind of like a victory lap. Imagine it's up high again. But yeah, we're going to go up to like the Conniston slate mines, probably able to see the old man of Conniston I reckon, and then drop down into Conniston. And I'll probably have a swim, but yeah, I feel okay, man. I feel quite tired. I think fueling's gonna be super important on the day. Hydration, obviously. All my gear's dialed as, it feels perfect, like my poles, this trail running vest, like my shoes, everything feels really dialed. So gear-wise, I'm happy. Get me to Saturday. Oh, it's warm. Some really nice climbing spots around here. Look at that. Conniston Caves, man, it's beautiful around here. Still a bit of gain to go now. Okay, so Conniston has come into view now. It's all downhill to Conniston. Conniston water over there. Conniston mines and the old man of Conniston with like some kind of cloud inversion going on. Woo, she's steep, but I'm glad it's downhill. Okay guys, made it back to Conniston. 21 kilometres. But yeah, felt alright to be fair. Got my legs back coming down and I was doing like 6-minute kilometres for the last 2 kilometres. So I definitely had obviously a ton of it in the tank, which was good. It means my pacing's probably not a million miles off. I just think I really need to make sure I don't go out too early. Like, I'm going to be so gassed on the morning, I'm going to be so carved up, I'm going to feel really good. It's just so important that I keep that first 40 kilometers pretty conservative and just keep it under wraps, and then you can always be a hero in the second half. That's kind of what I tell myself. So yeah, made it to Conniston, gonna get back to the van. I'm doing some stuff for the Lake District government tomorrow, just some stuff around Leave No Trace, so that's exciting. So I'm gonna stay in the van tonight, have a shower, probably wash in the lake, or have a shower at my campsite, and then yeah, I'll see you back at the house where I'll be doing a gear breakdown of everything, full kit list of everything I'll be taking and everything you need to take, because you can't start the race without most of this stuff. So see you back at my house. Okay guys, so today is Wednesday the 23rd of July, and as you can see, I've just been through my kit checklist to ensure I've got everything I'm going to need to be allowed to race the Lakeland 50. So they are quite strict, and if you don't have all the things that you are required to have in the kit requirements or the kit checklist, then you won't be allowed to race. So all this is checked prior to race, and obviously all this is for the safety of the runners. Now, the Lake District, as you probably know if you're watching this video, can have some pretty hostile weather. So the majority of this is just to basically minimize the risk of serious injury when you're out on the trail completing the 50 or the 100 miler. So a lot of this stuff is a bit overkill, and you probably won't end up using a lot of it, but that's a good thing. It's better to have it and not use it than really need something and obviously not have it. So it's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. Pretty crazy. The concept of covering that distance in a day is mental. So if you're watching this and you already do ultras, I've got a huge amount of respect for you. Or if you don't do ultras, I imagine you're in the same boat as me, where you're thinking, how the hell am I going to cover 50 miles or 80 kilometers in a day? Well, this gear is going to help enable me. So let's go through the kit requirements on the official Lakeland100.com website. So there's 14 different points, basically. There's 14 things we're going to run through. So number one is waterproof trousers. Now these are just some pretty cheap ones off Amazon. They're about 20 quid, but they feel extremely waterproof. They probably have a crazy hydrostatic head, but obviously the trade-off is they're not breathable. They do pack down quite small, and yeah, it's something that I don't plan on using unless I have an injury and have to sit there for 2 hours waiting for rescue, which hopefully won't happen. But who knows, if I get caught in a storm, maybe I will need them. So point number two is a spare base layers, top and bottom, in a sealed bag. So I've got this in a little plastic bag. I've kind of vacuum sealed it, just like squeezing out all the air. So again, the pack size isn't crazy. These are two smart wool, merino wool base layers, top and bottom. The purpose of these is if you get soaked in the clothes you're wearing, you can find shelter, put these on, then put your waterproofs on and stay warm. Makes sense. Again, something I probably won't be using if the weather's okay and if I can avoid injury. So yeah. So point number three is gloves. Now these are like proper winter hiking gloves. I have got some lighter gloves. I'm not entirely sure which ones I'm going to take, but I do get really cold hands, and I am conscious if I do get wet and it's windy, your hands will be really cold. I've also got like a little thin Montane layer hat that's just really thin, really nice, and I'll also be taking this kind of like cap, sun cap, which should help keep the sun off my face, and it stops my receding hairline ruining all the race photos, so it's a win-win. Point number four is actually a map and a road book. Now these are supplied at registration, so I don't have them with me, but I'll be getting them on the Friday when I go to check in for the race. Next is a compass, and obviously knowing how to use it, having a basic understanding of your bearings, knowing north, south, east and west, and obviously being able to use a compass. Now my phone has a compass, my Garmin has a compass, both of these are GPS, but this is in the kit requirements, and if my phone dies and my watch dies and I end up disorientated, this might be a little bit of a lifesaver, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. So next is a first aid kit. So in here is plasters, bandages, tape, Vaseline, a tiny pair of scissors or a little knife I think is in here, and a few other little bits that again, I shouldn't really need. I probably will end up using the plasters, to be fair, if I get really big blisters in the first half, but who knows, we'll have to wait and see. So point number 8, I've got a head torch. Now obviously this race will be going well into the night, and like I say, I'm looking at about 18 hours, which means I'll finish around 4 AM I think. 4 AM finish time, so I'm definitely going to be running in the dark for a long time, so a head torch is crucial, but not only a head torch, it's also super important to have spare batteries. So this head torch, you can just pop the back out and put in 3 AAA batteries that I've got spare that I'll be bringing with me just in case. And not only that, in fact you can see it in there, kind of see it in there, you can just pop the batteries in. So if you don't already know, and it's something that I don't like to go on about, I have actually had a heart transplant, but I don't use that as an excuse. but it means that, yeah, like it's obviously a crazy condition to have, so my fitness isn't where it probably would be if I was. There is a few more things I have to take into consideration. I don't want to go balls to the wall. I want to do this race safely, and my main objective is to not DNF. So obviously I want to finish, so that goes without saying. And the way I'm going to achieve that is I'm going to pace myself, and I'm going to go for about 16 to 18 hours, somewhere in that region. Now I know if you actually run these ultras really quickly, that's a really slow time, but it's my first ultra, and everything taken into consideration, I'll be really happy with that time, and I'll be really happy just to enjoy the race and to be part of such a prestigious event. I can't wait. So that was point number 6, first aid kit. Now point number 7 is, again, something that I shouldn't need to use. Emergency food sealed in a bag and only to be used in emergencies. So I've got about 500 calories here. I've got a flapjack, I've got a gel, and I've got a nut bar. 500-600 calories of food, protein, carbohydrates. So if I get stranded, and again I need feeding, and I'm crashing out, I've got kind of like, I'm bonking really hard, and I need to get my blood pressure up, this little baby could be a lifesaver, but hopefully I won't need this. But again, it's only tiny. I mean, that weighs probably about 150 grams, so it's negligible. I'll just put it at the bottom of my pack. I am going to be taking a power bank as well, because I'm also going to be taking a few electronics. So I'm going to take my little action camera to kind of like vlog the race. This is a 20,000 milliamp, it's about 500 grams, I will not be taking this. I've got a 150 gram one coming from Amazon, which is about 8,000 milliamps, so a little bit bigger than an iPhone battery. I can use that to charge my phone, my watch, my head torch, my camera. So again, it's good to have that backup power in case I need it. Speaking of electronics, now this isn't in the checklist, this is just something I'm bringing. I'm taking these Shocks over-the-ear headphones for podcasts and music. Now these are great because they don't go in your ears, so you still get the surrounding audio, you can still speak to people, and you can still be aware of your hazards compared to like big over-the-ear headphones. So yeah, these are really cool, and I'll be taking them. Number 9 is a whistle. I don't want to say a crevasse, I've been doing quite a lot of mountaineering stuff. So let's say you fell down like a muddy bank, or you were kind of out of the line of sight and it was dark. You've obviously got a whistle to attract attention in case you need help, or if someone else needs help, you can blow a whistle, hopefully get some people together and then help out whoever's in need. So yeah, number 10, and one of my favourites, my tried and tested Montane Gecko VP 12 Plus. So as you can see, it's actually got a surprising amount of room in here. You can fit a ton of stuff, and obviously I'm going to need to fit all this stuff in here. So you've got a massive big back pocket, you can get some stuff up here in the top section. You've also got a few other pockets for things that are quick accessible. You've got 2 zip pockets for things like car keys or things you don't want to be losing. And again, more pockets in the front for snacks and for your phone, which is pretty perfect piece of equipment. And I feel like 12 litres is probably the optimal size for a 50 mile in my opinion, but we'll have to wait and see. I have tried most of this gear out in this bag and it was fine. Anything bigger and you're talking like almost like a fast packing camping pack, but something like that, I think I'm going to be able to fit everything in, so I'm not too concerned. And it also comes with 2 soft flasks that go in the front. One, I'm going to have an electrolyte mix, and one I'm going to have a carbohydrate mix. And then I imagine by halfway through the race, I'll be so sick of electrolytes, gels, and carbohydrates. I'll literally just be like, and obviously like things like sodium tablets as well, because these are quite strongly flavoured. I'll literally just want water. Like I can imagine like a marathon in, I'm going to want water, but it's super important to make sure you're replenishing your salt. So I've got a couple of electrolyte tablets that I'll be taking. I've got these ones by Humantra, which are pretty good to be fair. I've had these quite a lot. It's like a black cherry flavour, it's really nice, and I've got some lemon ones. So that's basically the food and hydration situation. I'll be going in the flasks and going into the Montane Gecko VP 12 Plus. I'll also be obviously stopping off at a lot of aid stations, and I'll get to that in a second, where I'll be having things like salty food, like things like soups, I believe they do, like bread, because I don't want to just be running off sugar and like really sweet stuff, because I feel like for 14 to 18 hours, it's a long time to only have gels. Your body's you're gonna get cramps, and you're gonna be going to the toilet if that's the type of thing that you're only eating. So yeah, it's good to bear that in mind. Next up, we've got a quality off-road running shoe. Now these are the Hoka Speedgoat 5s, I think. Now these are pretty worn down, but you have still got a Vibram sole, which is a real great grippy sole. I mean, if you're into the outdoors, you've obviously heard of Vibram. Vibram are pretty goated when it comes to soles. I think all mountaineering boots are Vibram as well. Now these aren't Gore-Tex, it makes it a bit more breathable, but I probably will take some waterproof socks, but you're gonna get wet feet. I think it's something that you can't really avoid over that distance. You're gonna get wet feet, so that's fine, it's something that I've kind of accepted. I've got my blister plasters, but the best thing is to try and avoid getting wet feet early in the race. So next up is the mobile phone fully charged. I've got the iPhone 16 Pro Max, so it's the biggest battery in a phone, or one of the biggest batteries in a phone, so the battery's pretty good on it, and obviously I don't plan on absolutely tanning it. And I'm also going to be taking, again, probably a 8,000 to 10,000 milliamp power bank, which is... Point 13 is a survival blanket. Now it's just a little foil blanket, 110 by 130 centimeters. Now that packs away absolutely tiny, and I'll probably put that in that cup, which we'll get onto now. Should keep all my electronics alive for the whole duration of the race. So finally, and the most interesting one, which I wasn't expecting, I actually had to order a few of these, is a solid plastic cup for hot drinks or soup. So there's no cutlery provided at checkpoints to basically minimize waste. So I've got this cup that I can just drink out of, eat out of. I'm also going to take probably 2 or 3 wooden disposable sporks that I can just kind of bin on the way. I think that's the best thing to do. And one thing that I'll move on to before I finish is clothing. So I'll just go give a quick rundown of everything I'm going to be taking. So I've got like an underlayer. Now this is going to be great because it's going to stop chafing. And then I've got the overlayer. Now there is a foam pocket in there. Now these shorts are both from Montane. They go on the underneath, they go on the top. I'm taking my Montane Solution jacket. Now I have got the Cetus Light as well. The Cetus Light is a brilliant jacket and it's lighter than this, but I just really like this. I know how waterproof it is. It's extremely waterproof and it's really comfortable jacket. And it's a little bit of like it's also quite worn, this as well. And obviously with it being such an extreme event, I just want to try and keep the wear down of my newer jackets to a minimum. So as you can see, there's patches on this jacket. I've had this jacket for well over a year now, and it's been with me on a lot of my mountaineering and camping endeavours, and it's served me really well. It's something I'm going to rely on, and it's also a little bit warmer than the Cetus Light. And some final bits that I've not touched on are some walking poles. So walking poles are great at keeping the pressure off your knees and your hips. Gecko VP has like these little toggles on the side which you can put the walking poles on to get them out of your way, so that's really convenient. And yeah, I'll probably have these out for the majority of the race. Like if I'm not filming, I'll probably have these in my hands just to take the strain off my body. Electrolytes, which I've touched on, emergency food, headphones, gloves, poles, everything that I've already ran through. I'm going to be taking some paracetamol, and I'm also going to be taking my medication because I have to take my heart medication every 12 hours. So I'll probably take it the morning of the race, and I'll take it like 10 PM, which will probably be about halfway through the race. So yeah, that is everything. Let's get this bag packed up. I can't believe this weekend I'll be doing an ultramarathon. Just fingers crossed the weather is okay, and fingers crossed I make it across that finish line no matter what. Thanks for watching this series, guys, and I look forward to sharing a race debrief with you. I'll see you in the next one.